Hello everybody. Today I thought I'd talk about a colorful topic called parallel dimensional time travel. And while I'm at it, I'll take you on a little hike with me. Right on. So I thought I'd show you where I'm going. Yeah, I'm at Lone Pine Park. This is close to my house, and that'd be fun to make a pretty video and share my topic today. And part of the reason I'm coming up here is so I can point out where it got me. Yeah, if you look right over here, the Mission Mountains come down alongside Flathead Lake there, and you can see kind of that nice deep drop off between those hills. That's where the Wild Mile comes down to Big Fork. So that's where I first showed up. And a big part of the reason I ended up coming to Montana is because I have a really good friend here named Rosie who invited me, and a big part of the reason she and I made friends is because we could talk about our paranormal experiences. And well, I've been dealing with the parallel dimensional time travel stuff, and it's brought some hardship into my life just because it's something that a lot of people don't understand, and some of the information in in my visions somehow seems to be misleading and troublesome. Anyways, I'd like to talk about it because I really enjoy the conversation. It's a really colorful discovery in my life. And so just as some people are excited that maybe the most exciting thing they've seen in their life is the time they took a rocket to the moon, or the time they took a submarine to the bottom of the ocean, and they can come back and talk about what an exciting journey that was, and that's perfectly fine and acceptable. But my exciting experience is a little harder to believe because it's not commonly experienced. But the funny thing is that it is in fact a popular topic, and there's several movies and stories about it. They are getting a little further up this hill now. Now, the parallel dimensional timeline is reached through the visionary state, and it's hard to say exactly what puts you there. I knew somebody who was experiencing a type of epilepsy where your brain just shuts off and on, and when it shuts off, that puts you in the visionary state. And the other explanation along those lines is that sometimes when people have brain damage or other things that stress the body. Now, the other reason people have any kind of clairvoyance is it may also be a level of evolution that now people have reached yet. So that makes those people rare and unusual. Now, it's hard to explain, what's going on because I'm still learning. So I guess I better look at it like that. I still have to learn a lot about it, but I know enough now to where I can explain it to the extent that maybe somebody else can understand me. And basically all it is it's like an alternate reality. Like you slip into a parallel timeline for a certain period of time, but then you come back to where you were, and sometimes you forget it, and then you relive it, and then it's like deja vu. That's what it is. And the reason I think it's a popular it's kind of an uncomfortable topic, because if I tell my personal story, then we start bringing up people who know me, or bringing people into the conversation like my dad, or some other dude from a music scene, and so it kind of it looks like I get lost in my fantasies if I tell these stories. But the reason I share them is because they are factual to my best recollection, and to me, what I'm seeing is an anomaly in nature that is really part of nature, and that other people experience this. And I've done enough research to find out that it's been a big part of human history. Like as far as people going to the oracles at Delphi, or people going to visionary state, and making big life choices from those from that source of insight. So anyways, I'll show you where I'm at here. So yeah. In a roundabout way, I kind of think, in my case, following my visions has brought me here. And I think moving to Montana could be one of the best things I've done. So that could be where, some of the the things that happen in my visions were really not to just give me direct information that you could take for face value, but to direct me in such a way that I would meet certain people and end up in certain places. So I'm kind of excited about what Montana has in store for me. Now, if you know me, you know I've lost my good friend Rosie. I moved up here to live with her, and now I'm all alone, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I doing in Montana? So this is all me kind of reflecting on why I'm here. And so big part of the reason I was here is because I went into the visionary state and I had all this stuff kind of happen and all this sort of drama created from it, and it made it uncomfortable for me to be around most of my friends. And so that's why I kind of started thinking, well, I need to kind of reflect on this and see if I can find a way to get people to understand it a little better. It's not very scientific, but science doesn't know everything. Like, you know, we're just scraping the surface. There's so much shit to learn in the universe yet, you know, that what we're dealing with is conscious presence, your conscious presence. And most of the time we operate in this body, but when it gets shut down and your consciousness goes outside of your body, we are steeped in information. And when you go out of your body, you tap into that information, but while you're in your body, you don't. Your equipment here is made to take on a limited amount of information. And so that's why I'm kind of thinking, in my case, going into visionary state, or for somebody else, it's a form of out-of-body experience, because you get to get out of your body to tap into all this information and to achieve spiritual communication. So some of the movies I want to bring up in this case would be, as a good example, would be, I think Groundhog Day is a really good example of parallel dimensional time travel, except in his case he kind of got stuck on one day and kept going around the whole day over and over so many times. But the thing is, it was just like reality. That's why I think it's interesting. So in my case, I would only go, you know, off to the parallel dimensional state for, like, you know, one ride, come back, and then go through it a second time, not over and over. But I saw that movie, and it you know, so the reason we make movies and stories is it's a way we share information without bringing people into the conversation, like, you know, people you know and stuff, right? So that's my theory. Maybe it would be better to put these concepts into stories instead of sharing my real account, because then you can just laugh at it and let it be a fun story. And another colorful story is the movie Contact, where they got the blueprint to build this machine, and they thought this lady was going to time travel. Well, or not time travel, they thought she was going to space travel, and the thing didn't go anywhere. But what she did is she went into the parallel dimensional timeline, and she spoke to what looked like her father, and the guy had to explain, well, I'm not really your dad, I'm just trying to take some shape so I can talk to you. And so that's what's going on in the visionary state in my case. So going into the parallel dimensional timeline, and so, like, it's really just a reflection of the current timeline, but it's real hard to explain is who's behind the face. You know, if I'm talking to, like, my dad or my friend Rosie or any of these other people I'm bringing up, that's the question. Is it my own subconscious mind construing these narratives, or is there an otherworldly being communicating? And so I think that's why, you know, so actually, let me start over. So from what I understand, the beings that are in the spirit realm, or the otherworldly beings, actually hope to communicate with us every chance they get, and so opportunities like that are taken. So maybe, you know, somebody flatlining or having a car accident, or just some sort of brain malfunction. You know, going out of body, the spirit world wants to communicate with you every chance they get, right? So that's the thing, and so that's one of the ways they communicate to us. So extraterrestrial life or otherworldly beings will put you in visionary state in order to communicate to you. In fact, the visionary state itself is the lesson or the message that you can even go into visionary state. And so that's a place where you can gather information, but you got to remember that information is only information until it is confirmed. So all you can really do is share your truth and share your perspective when you're going through your life, no matter what you're talking about. And when everybody brings their perspective together, you kind of see the commonality there that might point out to what could be true. So truth is constant. And if there's a phenomenon in nature where, like, okay, you go into visionary state to communicate with otherworldly beings, well, then that's just part of nature, you know. It's just a weird part of nature, but it's part of nature nonetheless, and it doesn't make you unusual if you're somebody that's experiencing those things. So, but like I said earlier, maybe you are a rare part of our species because not everybody's developed psychic awareness yet. But I'd like to think in due time, as we become a more complex animal, that we become more conscious and aware, that we'll be able to understand all that stuff. And like, you know, if there's any such thing as ghosts, if there's, you know, things that exist on a subtle level, we just may need to evolve a type of equipment that can perceive that stuff. Just kind of like, you know, you can't get online with a really old computer, right? So you have to get a new computer to get online these days. So as our computer equipment becomes more advanced, maybe we'll start to be able to perceive all the stuff. We'll be able to perceive parallel timelines or the spirit realm, or and like, so the reason we get notions about things like heaven, things like God, maybe that's an intuitive notion, and we can't quite put our finger on it. And so the information we have are stories and testimonies from thousands and thousands of years ago, and people trying to share their experience to the best of their knowledge. And so when it comes to that stuff, you know, you got to forgive anyone who can't explain the universe, or somebody that can't explain God. For God's sake, we're just tiny little ducky monkeys here on little tiny planet Earth. So so it's fun to be open-minded, and but at the same time, you know, always be you don't want to be smart about it. You don't want to just believe what people tell you. You want to be skeptical enough on a healthy level, enough not to believe bullshit, but you got to be open-minded enough not to just shut out something that's true only because you have no way to perceive it yourself. Now, of course, another classic is Peter Pan. And in that story, like, they go more into a fantasy realm, but the interesting thing is that they're gone for a long, long time, but when they come back, it's like they were never gone, and no time is lost. And then there's Narnia. I think they went into this magical closet. They were gone for like 15 years or some stuff, or they come back and they're back to where they started. So there are lots of movies and stories about people who go into the parallel dimensional timeline. And it makes a colorful story, you know, because when you do this, you're like, oh, wow, there's this whole other realm. But not only that, but you come out with some character building experiences and stuff like that. Like in Groundhog Day, the guy had a lot of character building experiences. And when he came out, he was a new man. So you can actually gain information and spiritual insight by going into the visionary state. So anyways, it's a very big topic, and as I go on and tell stories about my personal experience, I might be able to explain some of the different ways that it works. So it's not just one way. There's several versions of how the parallel dimensional timeline thing works, and I think that is very much real, and that's something you can take into consideration. Maybe you've experienced this yourself. So I like to get feedback from people who have experienced this, and if you haven't, that's okay. I think there's only so many people in this world that are going to be able to see things like that, and other people, you know, everyone has their gift, and it's not all the same gift. So you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.